want to do now, Jeff,
Yeah.
is I want to turn our attention to compliance.
Yeah.
Because this is an important key issue for any company, for any business owner, for any consultant or distributor to know that their business is compliant. What would you say are, in your mind, are the top issues regarding compliance that someone needs to be adhering to make sure that they themselves are being compliant in the marketplace?
Okay. Well, maybe we ought to talk about this issue from the perspective of the company and the perspective of the distributor, but in fact, they're one and the same.
Okay.
Everybody's goal here is to basically, and this is our goal. We've represented a lot of the leading direct selling companies. We've started a lot of them, and we have two goals. One is to help make them successful, and secondly, to help keep them in business.
Got it.
You can't have one without the other and ultimately be a successful company. So when we talk about compliance, we often have to remember that a company is basically asked a lot of people to join it as partners, and it is managing a volunteer army.
Right.
An army that can go anywhere, anytime they want, and therefore the company, when it explains issues of compliance, it needs to not talk down to people. It needs to have a conversation with them, explain why this is important. And generally, the issue of compliance for direct selling, MLM, network marketing companies comes up in two areas. One is the product that is being sold, the product or service, and the other is basically the sort of claims, earnings claims about the opportunity. Those are generally the two major. Now, many times there are unique aspects of a product that have other regulatory issues involved. For instance, somebody who might be involved in real estate may have overriding issues involving real estate.
Right.
A company that is involved selling health products has overriding issues that come from our Food and Drug Administration about claims that could be made. And so it's very important that the company pay attention to any regulation regarding the type of product or service that is being sold and that it adheres. And that's why we are a specialist in representing direct selling companies in the marketing area, but we frequently are part of a team with securities attorneys, real estate attorneys, or other attorneys who are specialists in their areas. And we all become a team together. So what is said about the product, we need to make sure, because if a company has a problem in terms of a regulated product or service, it could be out of business altogether,
right.
And the opportunity for all of the family of distributors would be gone. So the company basically needs to know what needs to be done and what needs to be said. If it's products relating to health, it needs to have good guidance. For instance, we have an attorney in our office who does nothing but advise on FDA issues and claims. So that becomes very important. And then the company has to explain its rationale to its distributors. It needs to explain it carefully in writing. There should be good training, oftentimes good video, good training meetings. There's no substitute for great training. But everybody has to buy into the importance of this. Call it compliance, and sometimes you think of it as we're shoving something down your throat. But call it basically we're in this together to preserve the opportunity for everybody, and people will definitely understand. So that's an issue with respect to product itself. In addition, the onus is on the company to basically be able to substantiate the claims that it makes about its product. Yeah. If it sells a product and says this is going to put hair on your head, it better have evidence that it can do that.
Right.
And it owes that duty to its distributors, because the distributors are going to repeat what it says.
Yeah.
Now, if a company says we have a great product, but for regulatory reasons or other reasons, we have to ask you not to be making claims more than we have provided to you. Distributors need to understand and buy into the idea that they need to respect what the company is saying, and but substantiation cases are often the demise of many direct selling companies when companies can't demonstrate that their claim that their oil supplement is going to basically get you 1,000 miles per gallon.
Right.
And we've seen many companies go out of business because they can't do that. So again, this is a matter of educating. It's a matter of putting it in writing, in videos, in training. And then one last thing, it is a matter for the company to monitor on the web as distributors are blogging, and to monitor what they're saying in advertising, and also to give distributors what used to be referenced as camera-ready advertising. Of course, with the web today, we may be talking about replicated websites where the proper claims are being made. That's really significant. The other area that is significant in compliance are earnings claims. And we've talked a little bit about this before. The rationale with respect to companies and distributors not making earnings claims without having disclosure of substantiation is one that is well tested. And companies basically, until they may provide distributors with earnings calculators so they can make their own assumptions, but until they're in a position to basically provide average earnings statements and track records, distributors should not be making earnings claims on the web, potentials, hypotheticals, and a company should basically be very clear about what they can do, and the distributors should try to put this into effect, and the company should monitor. It should monitor as things are going on.
So, Jeff, the theme that I'm seeing here is it's the company's responsibility, corporate's responsibility to give tools to the field. What can you say? What can't you say? Making sure that it's compliant, that it's gone through its legal review, so that if it's in a brochure, if it's on a website, that the consultant or the distributor can feel comfortable sharing that information. It's the company's job to make sure that that information is correct and that it holds up and that they're properly representing their product.
You're right. And frequently we hear companies complain, oh, our distributors are going crazy on us. They're taking out ads everywhere. They're saying things everywhere. And you know what? There's a vacuum, because a company that doesn't provide its distributors with materials creates basically a vacuum in which distributors feel the need to do this. And so a responsible company will be turning out quality training, quality materials, quality brochures, the sort of things that give its distributors the good tools so they don't have to go out and create it themselves. And a company should do one more thing. Companies should listen to their distributors. Sometimes distributors have the very best ideas.
Well, they're the boots on the ground that are experiencing firsthand what's happening in those meetings and conversations.
And when distributors come to companies and say, you know, I think I've got an idea for presentation or advertising or whatever, I'm not saying that it's always going to be the best, but I'll tell you, companies should be listening. Again, a company that's going to be successful in the long run is one in which the distributors feel that they're partners in the process.
And I like that word, partners, because it seems like the company has their job and the distributors have their job, and they really need to work together as a family, as a team, to ensure that they're protecting each other, watching each other's back, and helping each other win and succeed together. You can't do one without the other.
That's a key to success.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.